Good evening and welcome to the Red Sea podcast. This is your Red Sea full-time show. Milan 1, Liverpool 2, 6 from 6. I'm joined by the Aussie boys. Let's get into the show.
Tell the world we are Liverpool, champions of England.
We've conquered all of Europe. We're never gonna stop. From Palestine to Turkey, we've won the fucking lot. But Paisley and the Shankly, the fields of our field goal. We are all supporters, and we come from Liverpool.
Evening, lads. How are we doing?
Yeah, good. Early in the morning here in Sydney, both for Pete and I. But yeah, good. Best thing to do. I think I woke up at 5:30 for a workout, and then came back, and it's the best thing to come back after a gym session and then just watch Liverpool, nice and calm. It's very relaxing.
Love it. How are you, Pete?
I'm good. I think I was just saying. I said on our last show, so I'm just getting my my Tea-Cast coffee, my little Greek coffee here. I think I said on our last show. I think how good is it to watch Liverpool games where you don't give a crap what the result is, and then this is one of them ones that we can sit back, as George said, nice and calm, enjoy, and then to turn out and watch a performance like that was absolute quality.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it was the fifth and the sixth game, wasn't it, that were dead rubbers in this group stage. So it was a strange feeling to have all your work done so early on, and quite a blessing, and to be able to play a mixed team. Not so much in the fifth match day. I thought we would rotate more than we did, but to see the team line up today, I was quite pleased to see the likes of Nico, Nat Phillips, Morton, Origi getting a start, and Minamino in midfield, which we've not really seen. So I'll stick with you, Pete. What did you make of the lineup? Did you think it was the right kind of rotation, or would you like more or less?
I thought it was the right kind of rotation. I think when I saw Mane and Salah both, I just said, please no Jota thing again.
No,
one of them ones. And then obviously they came off, I think it was the 63rd minute. I think they both came off, and I thought,
yeah,
perfect, absolutely perfect. So as in terms of the starting lineup, I was actually really happy to see Konate come in and absolutely pocket that self-obsessed prick at the top there, and which I'm sure we'll get into that later. Tyler Morton, I was expecting him. I was expecting Chamber. Obviously, Minamino, we expected him. And Origi, we expected him. So, yeah, I think that 11 was spot on, perfect.
No, I agree. And George, it was an interesting one because the entire back four changed from the weekend. Alisson kept his place, probably because there was nobody else to captain the side. But to see the performance that they did, was it that Liverpool's kind of almost second string, sometimes even the third string towards the end of that game? Did they play well, or were Milan that poor?
No, I think something has changed since the West Ham game. I think there's been a lot of tinkering, and it's like almost like alchemy. I point to the show that Pete's just recently watched, and I'm sure everybody's watched, Breaking Bad. Jurgen Klopp. I often liken him to Heisenberg, the way he's got the glasses and the beard and the hat as well. But he's a bit of a chemist. He's kind of tinkering a little bit, and we've seen that with this midfield. Whoever's been playing in it, where the back line's a bit too far back, and then the midfield are too far forward. Then he brings the back line forward, and then we get over the top. So then he's just finding that balance. And I think the greatest thing that we've seen here in this game, and like Pete said, you don't care about the result, sure, but there's a part of me that really cares about the result, because I want to see consistency amongst all of our starting 11s, and like you said, a much changed back four, plus a very young anchor in Tyler Morton, who I thought was fantastic. I mean, special mention for me, if I was to give man of the matches, and I don't want to go too far into the future of this pod, but I thought Neco Williams and Tyler Morton were incredible, but both of them are important parts of that back four / back five, if you count your DM. But yeah, it looks like there is a system, and that's what you want. That's what great teams are made of, is a system rather than the players. And I think if you can see a midfield three of Oxlade-Chamberlain, Minamino, and Morton perform, then the system is working. And that bodes well for the future if we do have an instance where we can't play Thiago, or we want to rest Henderson or Fabinho. if the system is the winner,
Yeah.
then you can rotate those players. Obviously, we prefer certain players over others, but the system was definitely the winner tonight.
No, it's a really, really good point that you make. And I mean, to be fair, Pete, I think we were kind of taking a piss at the end. We had like Nico Williams on the right wing, Chamberlain was up front for a bit, and then we brought
Allison
on
left wing.
Yeah, I mean, to be able to muck it up that much, is it what George is saying? Is the system and the style the winner, or were Milan actually that bad? I mean, they were playing against a team that didn't need to do anything, had made serious wholesale changes, and they knew a win would probably put them through. So, you mentioned Zlatan against Konate had literally zero change out of him, but I look at the Milan side, and I think of the Milan side of 05, of 07, and Jesus, have they fallen off a cliff?
They're first in the Serie A. So they're topping the table in their domestic competition.
Madness.
So and that was and their starting 11 was pretty much full strength, because the last time we played them, Zlatan didn't even play that game, and
that's right.
The 3-2 was a lot closer.
Oh, can we hear you? We've lost the sound on you, Pete. There, you're back.
There we go. We back?
Yep, all good. Carry on, mate.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so the starting 11 was stronger than the last one. And again, the scoreline suggested it was close, but the football, if you watch the match, it wasn't that close. It wasn't that close at all. And with our second string team, as we mentioned earlier, I was expecting to drop points. I really was. And at 1-0 down, I thought, well, okay, so don't get upset. This was meant to happen. You expect this to happen. Please don't get angry. Don't get angry. And then we kind of just said, no, not yet. And then we literally just took the piss, as you said earlier, the rest of the match.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, let's get into the goals. I mean, George, I look at the first goal from a corner. Minamino at the front post kind of leaves the post, leaves that gap. Nat Phillips, it kind of goes past him, and Tomori kind of ghosts in past 2 or 3 Liverpool players. So disappointing goal to concede for me, that one.
Yeah, look, I think the thing that's a pretty stock standard thing is just seeing players unmarked just in front of Alisson. They weren't necessarily doubling up on him. And by the way, I watched West Ham versus Chelsea, and we think that, we're West Ham targeting Alisson. They do it to every team. They did it to Chelsea as well. So, it's not like every team comes to Liverpool and says, can we, do this specific thing? It just seems like teams are using it as a tactic in general. But Liverpool seem to struggle with just players just finding their way free in that area. But at the same time, it's because it goes through a couple of players. Now, it is Minamino that misses that. And, it's interesting if we get to talk about him later on. It'd be interesting to kind of hear everyone else's thoughts on how they thought he performed in midfield. But at that stage, that's around 29 minutes in.
Yep.
I thought he was tidy, but there were just little things where he's just a little bit behind. And the thing is that when I saw that first off, when he misses that, a bit of an air swing, I'm kind of going, well, there's another one. But actually, it's, I think, the Milan captain that comes through and kind of puts him off. It slightly nicks his heel. And so Minamino then slightly misses, and then Alisson slightly misses. It's just a comedy of unfortunate events, basically. It's just one of those. I wouldn't read too much into it. The thing I would read into is the fact that there's just someone, again, right next to Alisson, which is where the goal is scored. So a little bit annoying. We've conceded a few weird corners like that, or, I don't know about set pieces, but corners. But it's not the worst thing. It was 1-0 down, but the game, as far as I know, was 2-0. That was a bit of a soft goal. So I just see it as Liverpool found a way to score 2.
No, 100%. I mean, like you say, Alisson makes the initial save, but we've seen that a few times this season, haven't we? That even when he gets a touch on the ball and makes a save, the first person to react is the opposition striker, and they can put it away. Which, to be fair, was the way we scored our 2 goals as well, Pete. But Mo Salah's finish was actually a lot harder than he made it look, wasn't it, for the equaliser?
When I saw it leave his foot and go up, I thought, oh no. And then it's hit the roof of the net. I was like, I can tell that's actually a top finish. I think we've got to give credit to Oxlade-Chamberlain during that passage of play, though, because it's funny. Every time he's played for the past month, which has been exceptional, it's funny. He's got like this mission. I think he's got like this personal mission, like take as many shots as possible. And you saw today, he was taking a couple of pot shots. So you kind of go, okay, don't get too excited. But then he was taking a couple of other decent shots. And one of those decent shots actually led to Salah's goal, as you said, as you were just mentioning now. And the way Salah took it on the half bounce to kind of, I think he was trying to lift it. I genuinely think he meant that, because when the keeper's first initial save, he has his body kind of already on the floor or going down. And so obviously, you think gravity there, but something gets back up, it's going to take him a lot quicker if you lift the ball. So I think he's actually tried to lift that ball there on purpose, and I'm just happy he didn't lift it too high, because we've seen Salah miss them as well.
Yeah, there we have. I mean, that's 20 goals, 9 assists in 21 games this season. I mean, what else do you say about this guy?
I mean, the thing is, what else can you say about Mo Salah? I think we've all said it. I think we've said it, but I mean, special mention to the person who sets that whole thing up is Oxlade-Chamberlain. And now I got a lot of grief for sticking up for old Ox earlier in the season, and there's just things that I've seen in his fitness and his game. It's just it's hard to explain. Like, his feet leave the ground so quickly. He like the way he controls the ball and leaves a stopping position to a canter is so quick. I don't know if he does 0 to 100 in 9 seconds or anything like that, but everything is just so quick and strong. I don't know how quick he is now, if he's lost a yard of pace, but over those first 5 or 10 yards, it's just so quick. And this is how this goal started. Actually, special mention to Tyler Morton, who actually does this kind of progressive diagonal ball, which was a feature of his game. I actually noticed early in the game, Minamino gets the chance to do it and turns back and plays safe. Tyler Morton, 19 years old, is the one who plays the diags and gets things started. I think Nico then comes in, and then Oxlade-Chamberlain gets in and does a bit of a fake, a bit of a dummy, comes in and then ends up with the shot. But Oxlade-Chamberlain, that's what that goal is all about. We've talked about Mo Salah enough. I mean, it's an incredible finish. Yeah. And like what Pete was saying with regards to the finish, you think maybe he's stuffed it up, or is it a miss hit, whatever. He's scored that many goals that we just got to, even me, I'm sitting there going like, oh God, has he mishit that, or has he meant that? It's just like when he scores 40 goals every single year, then I think we've got to accept that he's just really, really good at this. And you know what? It's just music to our ears when you hear idiot opposition fans saying that he's a one-season wonder and whatnot. Yeah. It's just, I mean... This is the longest season of all time. So, long may this one season continue. I think it's 5 years now this season's been going.
Isn't it funny that the other day, literally just the other day, they started saying who's having a better season, Bernardo Silva or Salah?
I can't believe that.
Bernardo Silva played good for 3 games. What are you on about? Because he scored a couple of bangers in the past couple of weeks, and you're going to start throwing that conversation out there. Just fuck right off, honest to God. So, well, not to bring it back to that, but when George was mentioning earlier about opposition fans, and I was just straight away, my head went to that. Why are we comparing him now all of a sudden? Because that Hazard debate died many years ago. So, what's next? Who's it going to be next? It's going to have to be Messi next.
I was going to say, they're running out of them, aren't they? I mean, I'd have him over Messi at the moment, easily. I don't know why one the Ballon d'Or and one hasn't. Let's put it that way.
Oh, Jesus. But just to jump off George's comment about Oxlade-Chamberlain, I think... going forward, he's been impressive. But that's not what's been impressing me in terms of what Ox's performance. It's actually been his defensive duties. Watching him track back, or the couple of interceptions he's made, or get touch tight on midfielders when they've got the ball at their feet, and he gets really, really touch tight so they can't turn. Those have been the impressive bits for me. Not so much what he's done in possession, because we all know that, when he's got confidence, he's actually quite good. He's one of those confidence players. When he's out of confidence, it's like he's not even playing. Like, where is he? But when he's got confidence, he's got this thing, like you've seen, the drive to shoot, to attack. But again, I'm just going to say that's not what's been impressive. Well, you go back to the Arsenal game and a couple other games in between that period where he was playing every week. The defensive side of his game was so impressive that's what, for me, even today's game was great to see out of Ox.
Yeah, and not only that, but I mean, it's the same thing where sometimes they say it about centre backs, where if you've got a quick centre back, they can afford, like Joe Gomez, you can afford to miss the first challenge because you can just have recovery pace. I think we're seeing that with Oxlade-Chamberlain. I mean, a few of our other midfielders like Henderson and Thiago, even perhaps Fabinho to an extent, they got to use their brains more, because if they miss that first one, they're like, we got to lumber back and get, try and recover. But Chamberlain, and we saw it in that, was it Arsenal, when early on in the game where Chamberlain comes back and he's the one that heads it. I think he comes back into the box and he clears danger, and it's because he's just put in this like 50-yard or 40-yard shuttle. It's just he's so quick, moving backwards and forwards. It's just something that none of our midfielders have, if you think about it. Naby Keita's quick off the mark, but very slow when it comes to like a long sprint. Chamberlain can get going, and that comes in handy in defense as well. When something has gone wrong, he can just put in that sprint and recover and just get back there at the very least. We saw early on in this spell of his that he would get back, and I think we even conceded a goal from something like this where he gets back in time but then gets beaten. Now he's added that part to his game where he gets back. He's not only a barrier or an obstacle for the play, he's actually putting in a few tackles. And I've got some notes here of times in the game where he's actually won the ball back very, very well. So yeah, he's, like Pete said, he's not only added to the attack, but I think that pace that he still has, it's very underrated now. People think that he's got the knee injury and he's slow, but it's very effective in defense as well.
100%. I mean, I think this is probably Chamberlain's best run being involved in the team consistently for probably over a year. I would suggest maybe even longer, because he's come in, he's done well, he's got an injury. His other players have been preferred to him, but through a combination of him playing quite well and obviously missing quite a few players in that position as well, he's to be fair, he's taken his chance. And I loved Chamberlain before he got that injury, and he was probably in the first 11 up to that point. And it's been really hard to watch him struggle over the last, especially like that year after, and then he kind of had another year in and out the team. So to see him come back and, like you say, not only show what he showed before with the attack, with the shooting from distance and bursting past players, but he even started to do some decent 20, 30-yard balls out wide as well. And he played in about 3 different positions tonight as well. So I was equally impressed with him. But one player that you did touch on, George, briefly, the curious case of Taki Minamino. Where does he sit now? Because for me, he starts in midfield 3. Chamberlain and Morton, I think, had better games than him tonight. So at what point do we say enough's enough now with him?
Very quickly, I'm very keen to talk about Minamino. I know Pete's very passionate about Taki. Big fan of Taki, but I just want to say this quickly is that I said this in our group chat. We've got another little Aussie guys group chat. And I said, this is his chance to just put Keita to bed. So you're asking about when's enough. I think there's more of a discussion around Keita than there is Minamino. We know Minamino, I think he's got a different medical team at Southampton, but he breaks down there. I don't know for what reason, but at Liverpool, he's been very fit and very available. We couldn't say that for Sturridge. We couldn't say that. Even sometimes Origi has been a bit weird over the last few seasons. Shaqiri, actually, the best example is Shaqiri, never available when we needed him, which is very strange considering he never played. So I trust Minamino more than Keita. As a footballer in midfield, I don't know. That's what I was looking at this game. And there are a few instances where I think a central midfielder does different things. Like I mentioned, there's an instance where Taki turns early in the first half, and he's given the trust of the ball by Tsimikas, and he turns, and there's a huge switch on to Neco Williams, doesn't do it. Morton did it in the blink of an eye. Chamberlain does it on the other side early in the second half, where he skips past a few defenders and switches it. I think we get a chance with Mane on the left. Yeah. So as the central midfielder, I think everything else from him, his game was fine. He recovered the ball really well. He didn't lose possession that many times. I think the biggest thing I think the commentators were saying was industry. So this is the thing. What does Keita provide? I think Keita's a little bit more dexterous, let's just say, as a central midfielder, providing for our forwards. But that's Taki's first game kind of thing for a while, since Crystal Palace or something, I think from last season, when he plays and starts in midfield. There's a really great moment where he's centre forward and he picks the ball up from deep, and the commentators go, look how great Minamino is from deep. And it's like, well, he's playing as a striker, so he can arrive deep. So that's a different type of player. I think starting from deep, he's still a bit weird, but I think it's a good game from him. Overall, it was, as a central midfielder, I don't know what the rating is like. It's probably about, maybe 6s or something, 6s or 7s. But all the other parts of his game were fine. Good enough, in my opinion, to push away Keita. I'm not interested in Keita at the moment. Minamino can survive. So I just want a player who can survive there.
That's fair. And same to you, Pete. What are your thoughts? Minamino, Keita, whereabouts are they sitting at the minute? Because obviously Keita's first game back in a while tonight.
Yeah, look, one thing that you guys have said on your show is availability is the best ability.
Yep.
Well, Minamino is always available.
True.
And as George said earlier, he's a bit more reliable in terms of, I guess, just being there. And if we need a sub, if we need someone to start, he's always there. And knock on wood, it's been great in terms of injuries for him. I think his performance today, if you look at the Klopp system, when he plays on that left side of the midfield, he did the role well in terms of keeping the ball moving. Yeah, I agree. He should have done some things where he should have maybe played some diagonal balls. But the one thing he didn't do was slow the game down. He did keep the ball ticking over, and he kept the ball moving. Whether he kept his link up with Tsimikas was nice. He kind of always tried to feed the ball to Ox, or was trying to feed constantly to Mort, who Mort would obviously do really well at changing sides of play, which is one of the most important things as one of the holding midfielders in our system. But I think if Minamino is going to play in midfield, I think for me, he's got to be playing as more like which we don't play, but like that lone 10 role.
Yeah.
And because he is a front third player, like as George was trying to describe his passing, if you think about his kind of passes that he makes, it's a front three player kind of passes. Short, intricate, kind of decisive slicing passes where he doesn't have let's just say he doesn't have that 60-yard ball in him, because when would someone in the front three have to play a 60-yard ball kind of thing? Normally they're running onto one, or you know what I'm trying to say? It's one of them ones there, and I think he's a much better player for us coming from the front three, coming in deep, connecting. Because one thing he does have, which people got to understand, he's actually got a really good IQ, and he reads play really well. He, like as George said, his defensive duty was good today, because he reads the play really well, and he got unfairly called on a foul. When he called a high boot, and it wasn't a high boot. He actually got the ball first, and it would have started a counter attack. But he had run 30 meters to get that ball, so he clearly anticipated really, really well to get onto that. But I agree, the corner situation, that was not good. He should have done better there. But there was a deflection. Tomori shouldn't have been free, but I think he should have dealt with that better. But then again, I think overall, if you give him a 7 out of 10 performance, I think that's not harsh, and I think that's fair.
Yeah. And very quickly, it's actually, I've got a little note here from 61 to 63. He actually has a really good spell. He wins the ball back really high, and he actually gives the ball very intelligently to Salah. Then he moves over there, and Chamberlain's kind of like, I got to now cover a little bit central / left. And obviously Morton is doing his best to pick up pieces in between. Then he starts drifting towards Salah. And it's no surprise. I say this to Pete all the time, say this on the Red Sea Down Under. It's no surprises when a player drifts right, they start playing a little bit better, because you've got Mo Salah to work with. Salah's just attracting so much attention. I thought Nico was really good on that side as well. So there's this little spell of 2 minutes where he's really good, and he's actually drifting right. He's picking up the pieces off our corners. And then the sub comes. And then I feel like 62, 63 is when he's like, I get it now. And then Klopp's like, go left wing. That kind of summarizes Minamino's career at Liverpool. He like, I get it now. And Klopp's like, oh, yeah. So that was due like last week, and it's like, So just as he, I think, started to get that in the game, I think he would have loved to have played another 10 minutes the way he was playing on 60. But obviously we needed to rest all of our players. And then he goes out wide, but he's really good in the front three. He starts playing like those commentators incorrectly thought. He starts playing like a really decent, deep midfielder when he's up front, because he starts coming and asking for the ball. And like I said, it's like Sturridge never liked playing wing, but he would drift wing. So Minamino there, I don't know how good he was as a center midfielder, but when he drifted there, he was incredible in the final kind of half an hour of the game. But just needed another 10 minutes there, I would say. But anyway, until next time.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I might be a little bit opposite of what you guys are saying tonight. I mean, I feel that we make a lot of excuses for Minamino. One, because he's a nice, smiley, likable guy. Two, because he only cost us £7 million. So there's not too much of risk in there. But for me, he's too timid. He's been here for nearly 2 years. And I've never at any point in his Liverpool career gone, wow, that was good. It's all, that's all right. 6 out of 10. 6.5 out of 10. And for a kind of a front three player or a number 10 playing in midfield, I would expect more in terms of an attacking output. So Tyler Morton definitely did the holding, deep lying playmaker role really well. Chamberlain was definitely the box to box today. He got forward, he got back. And I would have expected Minamino to really link up with that front three tonight, because Milan didn't offer anything. They were very, very physical, very, very aggressive. And how they didn't get a yellow card in that game, I actually have no idea. The amount
Yeah,
of
I know.
It's that I reckon that ref was told, because he gives the red to Atletico, for people who don't know what the red was for.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. This guy's very card happy, and he didn't give any cards. I thought, I don't
Yeah.
mind him, because as long as the ref is consistent and they explain themselves.
Yeah.
I like refs that stamp out a dumb, like, time wasting play. But yeah, interesting. There was no yellows. Yeah,
No, it was a really, really physical game, and some of the like blatant holding on, pulling down was quite poor. But for me, I just think Minamino, the Premier League can be quite physical. I just don't ever see him having he's got the ability. He shines in certain games in the League Cup and against different worse opposition. But for me, 2 years in, he's just drifted through his career. He's not ever going to break into that midfield. And we're saying Tyler Morton's had a better game than him. We've got Curtis Jones that's going to come back to this squad. Harvey Elliott's going to come back into this squad. Hendo's not even played tonight. Fabinho's come off the bench. I just think he's so far down in the pecking order. And like Pete said, his best position, and for me, his only position, is a number 10, which we never play. So
yeah,
it's very much a square peg in a round hole, a little bit like Shaqiri for me. I think Shaqiri's best position we've seen for Switzerland is that 10. And we never really played that. So he was always trying to is he a midfield three? Not really. Is he a right winger? Compared to having Mo Salah or Mane on the wings, again, not a Liverpool winger in that style. So for me, Minamino, he's just not quite good enough for me for this level. I think bottom half Premier League team, if he went to Newcastle, for example, in January, I think he'd do well there. I just don't think he's got the ability to really kick on in this team at this level for me.
I think it's a good point. And to quote Zach Galifianakis, another famous Greek, he's probably between two ferns. I don't know if that's the right way of saying that line, but he is between two things. He's not quite a forward, not quite a midfielder. He's literally that player in between. And look, I thought it was good signs today that he could progress. But I mean, again, like I said, it's that thing of every time he gets that rhythm, we probably won't see him for 5 weeks. So yeah, I mean, good luck trying to get rhythm.
Absolutely. So, Pete, obviously we've got the win, 6 from 6, 18 points. It looks very impressive. But Atletico Madrid have gone through, so we fucked this up, haven't we?
Yeah, I said on our show, I hope we lose on purpose just to fuck them over, because I can't stand that. And did you see the red cards in that game? Did you see how that?
I've not seen them.
Chaos. It was absolute chaos. Honest to God.
Was it at the same time?
There was 2 red cards, but there was just a constant fighting and the typical shithousery we expect from Atletico Madrid. It was just I really dislike them, and I don't want to talk about them too much. But yeah, we definitely fucked that one up, as you said, because now they're through, and they're a kind of team. Once they do go through into these rounds, they
build momentum.
You don't want to play them.
Mm.
You don't want to play them in knockout stages. I don't care what we did to them in home or away, because we may face them in a semi. Who knows? But you don't want to. These are the kind of teams you don't want to play in Europe, because they literally perfect shithousery. And when it comes to Europe, it's so important to have that in your locker, which I wish we had a bit more of. But it's they did go through, and it's a bit upsetting, to be honest. But but the only English team to ever go 6 from 6, if I'm correct.
Incredible.
Which is fantastic. And what was the group of death? I think they named it in the draw, didn't they? So interesting one. So just before we get on to who we might face in the next round, Divock Origi, 2 from 2. His first goal in a Champions League since the 2019 final, I believe. So what did we make of his goal? It's quite similar. It's a shot from Mane, a bit like the Chamberlain one in the first half. The AC Milan goalkeeper makes a very strange kind of one-handed save back into play. And to be fair, again, a bit like Salah's finish. First time goalie's out of position, and it's not as easy as it looks. It's a pretty good header, isn't it? It's a good finish.
Yeah, it's a typical Origi thing. The way the ball just hits him and goes in, it's fucking hilarious.
It's like one of the hits his back.
It's very similar to Richarlison's goal, actually. The one he finally scored, I think it was his hat trick. He only scored one though. But when Everton played Arsenal, just like a video game where you just header the ball in after the keeper's done his obligatory parry.
No, it was a good little finish, wasn't it? So interesting to see us go through as group winners, 6 from 6. I'm just having a look at the tables. Who do we fancy in the last 16 because PSG have gone through as runners-up. What a tie that would be.
Not yet. Not yet.
I've got history with them. Could you imagine that?
For me.
We basically got any of the runners-up. So as it stands, we've got PSG,
Sporting, is it?
Sporting, Inter Milan, Barcelona, Villarreal, Salzburg, and Juventus. Basically, they're, at the moment, that's what it looks like. It could also be Chelsea.
I'd love a Juventus. To be honest with you, I'd love a Juventus. I think they're literally there for the taking at the moment. Obviously, you know, you'd love a Sporting to just to say you can hopefully go through to the next round. But
you know that's Man City.
Clubs,
Yeah, let's be fair.
In terms of big clubs, I would love a Juventus match. I would love Juve.
No, that would be good. That would be good. I think there's a lot of teams in this year that can be got at. I think the Serie A is really poor at the moment. I don't think the league is particularly strong either. So anybody from those leagues, I would be pretty confident. I mean, you know, we've seen tonight, like you say, the team that's top of Serie A, and Liverpool have basically done a Football Manager. Anybody that's kind of in the yellow, come off. Doesn't matter who goes on. Doesn't matter what position you play. Nico right wing is fine. It doesn't matter. Everybody's on a yellow in fitness, energy levels. Get them on the pitch. So I'm confident that we could go all the way. To be fair, I mean, the only teams I think that could maybe give us a challenge are probably Bayern, PSG, Chelsea, and Man City. Other than that, I think we breeze past everyone else.
Well, there's also the chance of Man United coming second. I don't think that'll happen if Villarreal managed to get that win. And then even then, I don't know what the rules are. But, you know, there's a chance for Man United and Chelsea, by the way. And you know what? There's a part of me that wouldn't mind Chelsea because I think we would annihilate them in Europe. And that could help us in our Premier League bid. I think that could be the stuffing that gets knocked out of them. So I wouldn't mind Chelsea either.
Yeah, we can't get a team from the same country in the last 16. That's saved for the quarterfinals.
Is that the rule?
That's the rule.
Someone told me that you could. I remember the last season, or the season before, I said the same thing. I'm like, we can't get an English team. They're like, yeah, you can. I feel like we got Chelsea at one point, but that must have been a semi-final.
I think we had Chelsea in the group stage once when we had to qualify.
It was, yeah.
We didn't qualify, 6.
Then it was a quarterfinal. Then it was a quarterfinal as well.
And there was a quarter.
There was a
quarter. Oh, there you go.
So a couple of semis as well, I think.
Maybe they've changed that. Yeah,
there was a semi as well as Rafa.
05 and 07. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we can't get an English team. So if, like you say, if a couple of English teams come second, then the potential teams we could face suddenly becomes a lot more easier to predict. I think Barcelona have to play Bayern as well, and Benfica have to play Kiev. So Barcelona could actually go out altogether.
Barca would be a good team to verse. Barca are probably the perfect team to verse, I would say. Wouldn't that be right? Because they try to play football. They don't have the cutting edge. And, a bit of an aging back line. I mean, that's kind of like us versing Norwich or something. And it's a huge call.
But they have to beat Munich to go through. They're not going to beat Munich.
That's what I mean. I think they're in big trouble. I think Benfica beat Kiev, go on to 10 points. And I think Barca are in big trouble. Then Bayern aren't going to give out an easy win there. Not at all.
I'd like a team from that group E. That sounds good.
Yeah, I agree. So one other thing I wanted to kind of mention, guys, about the next round. This is going to be the first, correct me if I'm wrong, the first knockout game where there's no away goals for a considerable amount of time.
Oh, yeah.
So what do we make of that? What's this going to do to the Champions League? Because that's always been the niche part of the Champions League for me. Oh, and there's an away goal. Now we've got to score 2. And suddenly that's not going to exist anymore. So I'll start with you, Pete. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think it's going to be that different, or do you think it's going to be pretty similar?
For example, we saw a Rafa Benitez coach, I'll be like, yeah, it's really, really, really important. But I think the way Klopp looks at Champions League games in general, I don't think it really matters for us. I don't think it matters for us is obviously getting the home leg second. I think that's more important to us than away goals. I think I think that's what we kind of look at more so in Champions League since kind of Klopp's come over. I think we kind of don't look to get an away goal and lock up and that's it, try and defend it. I think we're kind of a team that will always approach the game the same anyway, with the same mentality, the same system, the same whatever. Do you know what I mean? So I think that it doesn't really matter now for us personally. I think it matters for teams like, Juve, Chelsea, Atletico Madrid. I think these are the kind of teams that kind of go, shit, this rule is gone now. But like for teams like us, Manchester City, Bayern Munich, I don't think I really don't think it matters too much for us. I just think the only thing that matters for us is getting the second leg at home.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, for George, I'll put this one to you. I mean, we're known for just blasting teams away in the Champions League. You know, Anfield, half an hour in. I remember the Roma game, 5-0 up, game well and truly over, but they get those 2 goals at the end, and because they're away goals, suddenly that seed of doubt creeps in, and you know, you look at the second leg of that Roma game, we almost went out. You know, it was right on the end. It was the last. You know, they scored a goal at the end. I think it was Clavan that cost us a goal towards the end, and ended up being about 7-6 on aggregate or something crazy. So, are we going to lose a little bit of that magic with this rule change?
I remember that some people they like the idea of people all in the stands with like the little ear pods in, and they're doing the math with their calculators. Like, what is it? Is this 2.5 goals? But something that people forget is you need to score the same amount of goals as each other. That's the only time. Because some people think that it's kind of like, you know, if it's 2-1, it's like, oh, the 1's worth 2. So now it's 1 plus 2, which is 3-2. We win. It's like, no, the win is more important. Then if there's equal goals, then they go. But it always comes into the equation, because football's a game of 1, 2, 3, 4 goals. It's not, you know, like rugby or something like that, where you can have all sorts of weird goals. With Benitez, we saw, you know, don't lose away, or keep a clean sheet away and then win at home. That's what he always did. And we've seen Jurgen Klopp switch that on his head. He's gone, literally, it looked like he's gone, get 0-0 at home.
Yeah.
And then win away. And he's blown teams away in the Champions League. Having, as well as that, not only we have a different style from Klopp in approaches to Champions League games, but I don't think I can remember a time where we've been the benefactors of an away goals rule. I feel like we're always like climbing and like struggling against this away goals rule. You know, the Barcelona game is us kind of going like, I mean, that's 4-0.
Late score, we were screwed, weren't we?
Yeah, we always find ourselves screwed with it. Like like the Dortmund game as well. We were kind of like clawing it back. You know,
Atletico
in the
killed
past.
us, didn't it?
Yeah. So it's Atletico. That's where it's hurt us. So I am glad it's gone, because I don't think it's ever helped us. I think there's a bit of nostalgia for specific fans who like the whole drama of that thing. But get rid of the drama. I think Liverpool's got enough drama in it. We saw that with our 90+4 win with Origi. I'm okay with a decrease in drama, and I don't think we benefited from it anyway. So we win the games, we score goals, then we go through. It's simple.
No, 100%. I mean, it's interesting though, like Pete, you mentioned the likes of Chelsea, Juve, Atletico, kind of, you know, they're quite defensive teams. So I think the whole point of this rule was to stop teams parking the bus away from home and giving you a reward for being a little bit more aggressive away from home. But is this going to make the games maybe more boring? Because George made a really good point that, you know, historically Liverpool would get the 0-0 away, you know, say to Chelsea, and then get home and try and sneak a 1-0 win. But nowadays we've kind of flipped it, and you know, if you concede a goal at home, it's almost like doom and gloom. So with that rule gone, are we going to see a return of just everybody that's away park the bus, get them back to our gaff and have a go at them here?
I definitely think it makes some of the coaches change their ideas now. I think that's one thing that's going to be interesting to see. I don't know if parking the bus is going to work, because then you still have to, as George said, you still have to score and you still have to win. Yeah. So whether you park the bus away to try to win at home, the other team is still trying to score the same amount of goals. Obviously, try and win the game. I think it's going to be more interesting to see how these defensive-minded kind of coaches approach the 2 legs now, like, because they can't defend both of them.
Yeah,
you know. So
in which case, it makes it more exciting, I think.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, so I think that was the whole point, to make sure that there's no like mathematical equations to try and win a game. I think it's just at least you just score more than them and you go through. I think it's going to make it more interesting, as again, especially as we just mentioned, your Juves, your Atletico, your Chelsea, because they're quite defensive. I think, and even for the smaller teams, right? Because they're smaller teams, but yeah, that's what they are. Because they used to try and get one and just hold on for dear life.
Yeah.
So what are they going to do now? They can't kind of just sit back and defend and soak up pressure over 2 legs, because, you know, history would say that you would more than likely you're going to lose the game. So do they just go all guns blazing and hope for the best? I think it's going to be really interesting, to be honest with you.
No, I do. I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, it's not going to be till February kind of time that the knockout round comes about. Salah and Mane obviously hopefully be back from African Nations Cup duty by then. I'm sure they will be, which is going to be a bit of a blow when they do leave up. Me and James had a look at it. They only miss, I think, Brentford and Leicester officially in the Prem, but even so,
I swear it keeps changing. Like I have no idea what I picked.
does.
We're going to miss
It
8
fucking
games. And it's like they're only missing 2, and then he's going to make Chelsea, and they may not have it because Omicron's going around.
Yeah,
I don't know. Greece at it again, by the way, Pete.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
No, it's a Greek letter. We're just joking.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah. Oh, well, okay. Yeah. No, I mean it's an interesting one. Fingers crossed. You know, when it comes back around, we'll be at full strength, and we can crack on with fans in stadiums and hopefully have that that atmosphere back at Anfield again, and maybe even reach another Champions League final. Wouldn't that be something special? But I think that's us. Unless you guys have got anything else to add from tonight's game before we wrap up.
Just a quick. We tweeted on our account just a quick congrats to our UEFA youth team. They finished on top of their group, on their group as well. So both Liverpool squads finishing first in the group stage is absolute quality. So
Love it.
More upwards and onwards for Liverpool Football Club. More Tyler Mortons, more Kate Gordons, and the rest.
100%. No, it's been a fantastic campaign so far. 6 from 6. I think bring anybody else on in the next round. In terms of stuff coming up, guys, have you got any shows on the horizon?
Yeah, tonight I think.
Oh, tonight.
We got a post Milan reaction show as well. We're going to do something as well for people who missed this, or just people in general just want to jump on and preview the Villa game.
Yeah,
which has been quite fun talking about this whole time. Because I still don't know who I'm going for in that game, to be honest. So
who's you're going to support? Your heart is split.
I'll save that for later tonight. We'll have a bit of a laugh later.
Also, a special mention there. That's Jeff. He's from the LFC LA. So one of the members from the official supporters club over in Los Angeles. He would have been at maybe at Jox's. I don't know if Jeff's going to give us a little comment there to let us know if he was at Jox or Daly's, which is the official supporters club pub over in Los Angeles, over in Culver City. So yeah, good to see. We've got the Los Angeles guys representing us here in the comments. So that's great to see.
That's
more of it, Jeff.
We want Red Sea stateside. Let's get it going, Jeff. Come on. We've got Red Sea down under. We've got Red Sea UK. We need Red Sea US. Let's get it. Let's make it happen.
Absolutely.
Would be fantastic. But no, that's been it, guys. That's been us. In terms of Red Sea podcast, we've obviously got the Villa preview coming up as well. That will probably be Thursday or Friday. And then, we'll have Red Sea full time right here after the game. Again, I think we're 3 o'clock again, aren't we? So trying to watch these 3 o'clock games in the UK is just, I think that's 3 in a row for Liverpool, which is quite rare to not have.
Yeah, shit is for us because it's at 2 a.m. in the morning. So fuck you complaining about a 3 p.m.
At least you can watch it. It's not even on TV in the UK when it's 3 p.m.
That's true.
I know. It's in a sad state, the television situation in America and in the UK, because they're all fighting over rights. And we say this a lot for the UK people here who are watching, who maybe don't watch the Red Sea Down Under shows. Australia have just 6 years. One channel has just signed on to get for the next 5 years all Premier League games, so everyone can always catch games in one spot. Free plug for Optus Sport there. But yeah, Australia's doing it the right way. I feel sorry for you guys in the UK.
Yeah. Oh, it needs to change, honestly. I thought COVID might have changed the whole 3 p.m. blackout, but no, it's back, and you have to watch Brighton Burnley on a Super Sunday instead of your own team. So there you go. We'll leave you with that lovely image. But thanks for watching, guys. Liverpool through to the next round. 6 from 6. We'll see you next time.